In this video, we'll discuss positive negative shapes and figure ground reversal. In addition to that, we'll take a look at methods of measurement. We'll go a little further with that. We, in the last video, discussed how to abstract a basic shape with, say, a bottle. Find your central axis, locate the body, the shoulders, the neck. And it's sort of an abstraction process of simplifying a form in order to see the form, and then coming back in on top and establishing your contour to get the roundness of the form. In this one, it's going a little differently, and it's incorporating your continuous line drawing process. And you take an object, actually 2 or 3 objects together make an interesting kind of metamorphosis where shapes become one in a silhouette of whether it's black or white. And so you see it's, again, another process of abstraction, but it's a little more organic, and the lines are a little more fluid, and the shapes are a little more distorted. But the emphasis here, that in itself becomes an interesting method to create a great work of art. But let's back up for a minute. And the thing that I want you to do in this assignment will be to do a continuous line drawing. And then it's a real black and white. You find your negative space area and fill it in black. And then you reverse it and you do another drawing and you blacken the object itself and you leave the background white. Now, what this does and how this helps you allows you to see how important that negative space is in relation to the positive form. Tendency is we want to draw the object and totally forget we don't know what to do with the background. When you do an open composition, things are going to run off the edge. And as soon as you do that, you start to create these interesting shapes in the background. And that's where you begin to merge the two positive negative space areas. And there's all kinds of things you can do with that. We go into that further with design in a design class, talking about positive negative. But for this assignment, it's going to help us clearly see what and how we can break up that space and make it part of the drawing, that it's not neglected. Now, the next slide, I wanted to talk to you about, let's see, we'll go here. I have to admit, I really enjoyed putting all those red dots. Pretty cool. It was like making a map on top of the drawing to explain it to you. But in order to get the correct proportions, placement, and scale of an object, there's a thing called method of measurement. And by putting a group of objects together like this and really pushing for accuracy and observation and looking, you start to look at the relationship of one object to the next. And so, for example, in how to start a drawing like this, in order to do some visual measurements, and visual measurements mean you're not doing this thing with a ruler. You're training your eye to see it visually. So if you go to the very top of the picture plane and you see where the bottles are going off the edge, it's about a third of the way into the if you were to do a visual measurement, you could break it into thirds. So where you see the first dot is about a third of the way into the composition. The second dot, first dot is really probably a fourth of the way, and then you have the second dot, and that's a third of the way into the drawing. And you look at the length, and then you have another dot, and then you have the corner. So there's going to be a demo. There is a demo for you to look at that will help you see this. You look and study your negative space areas, but and you draw the shape. If you draw the negative shape, it helps you define the form. And this is a process of through observational line. You'll be doing a lot of drawing with pencil and number 2 pencil very lightly to establish and locate these objects in space and to draw them correctly. So you'll be using your eraser quite a bit on this assignment. This is an example, and I had students, a student example. I had a student years ago say, "Hey, well, we want to see some of the average works of art. You just keep showing the really, really like super stuff and the A plus plus, and we want to see what we can expect." And so we're all coming in at different stages of development, and some people have been drawing for a very long time and others are starting for the first time. So this is a beautiful A drawing. They're really looking at the form. There's some distortions, but I could see there's a lot of work going into the drawing, measuring, looking at relationships, finding the height of the bottle, the location that it goes off the edge. And came up with a really beautiful, beautiful drawing. Then the last one, let's see. In this last slide, you see a portfolio shot. It's a photograph of a student's portfolio. The portfolio was laid out on the table. And I took a cropped section. So you're seeing several things here. I wanted to show you the bottles at the top. In reference to what we're talking about in this video. And you see where they've come in with the bottles and established the central axis and drawn the basic shape of that bottle. And then they've gone a little further and drawn another bottle that was sitting next to it. And so you see the baselines are at different heights on the paper itself. And then you see to the left of that, you see a grouping of bottles, and that's where we're at right now, where the student is drawing and measuring the relationship of one bottle to another bottle to another bottle and to an object or another object. So it didn't matter what we put up there. We could put a puppy dog, stuffed animal, and a leaf, and you could draw and use and incorporate this method of measurement. As an extra bonus, we take a look at, here is a contour line drawing that the student did of his face. And this is something that, I don't know, maybe that's a woman. But anyway, yeah, I think it's female. But they did a beautiful drawing. It's look in the mirror and draw yourself. And then under that is a hand. And that's actually your first assignment. It's in your introduction when I ask you to draw your hand. And so here's an example of one of the student drawings that they did on the first day of class. Now, I debated whether or not we would be able to do this online, and I thought, let's do it. I think we can. So, that first assignment was to draw your hand. So you guys did a great job. And there are a number of different kinds of, and it was fun. So got us started, got us talking about drawing, and that's important. Got to have a starting point.